Hey, I'm Red and I'm here to talk about practicing improv. And so I know that's already a mouthful. Like, how do you practice improving things? And we all want to improv. We don't want to get to the jam session and don't know what to play or don't know how to solo. So how do you practice that? Like, I've got a couple techniques that I think are pretty cool. The first one is to realize that like you are your best teacher. I know we practice, or sometimes we have private teachers and we practice with them and they'll give us pointers and things like that. But realize like you're with yourself all day long, 24/7. That means every day you're with yourself. And so learn how to learn from yourself. You got to realize like what it is that you're really good at and the things that you need to improve on. And that's not a weakness. That's actually a strength to realize what it is that you need to improve on. And so when you're approaching how you practice things or what you're going to practice, focus on that. I think even as a kid, one of the things that I did all the time was practice what I was already good at. Like, I don't want to sit down and not sound good, but that hindered me from progress. And so what's really important is to realize that, hey, I'm not so great at this. I'm not so great at minor skills. I'm not so great at even sight reading. And use that as your basis for what you practice. And so with that, what do you practice? I know, we want to jump deep into the melody and learning songs and, we want to play the fast solo, but without having technique behind all of that, then it's for naught. So you want to practice technique. You want to practice just major scales and minor scales, because what that does is, first of all, it gives you a basis for your body to get used to your instrument. You got to develop the muscle memory on where things are and how to get around your instrument, and scales completely help with that. Like, you can't kill a deep Coltrane line without knowing how to play major scales and minor scales. So you got to get the muscle memory behind your instrument, and like, how do you get around that and what's comfortable. You may even develop a good fingering for yourself. I even learned this from a video, which is Jaco Pastoris' method of playing major scales. On an electric bass is 2/4, 1/2/4, 1/3/4, and I can play every major scale just by going up and down the neck. And so that's really, really big for me because, when you're going through fast chord changes, you don't have time to think all the time. You want to just be able to, get through them and to get from chord to chord. So having, the muscle memory to do that kind of thing is like super, super, super important. So, yeah, practicing scales is, I know it may seem kind of elementary, but, boredom is the first sign of complacency. So you don't want to get complacent on like not doing the simple things, because you got to be able to do those well to do the deep things. So sorry, but that's pretty important. Practice your skills, practice your technique. When I'm slapping, I want to move as minimally as possible when I'm doing those kind of things. So I'm not like, that slows you down and makes you tired, and gives you carpal tunnel and things like that. So you want to be able to just do things simple, and practicing technique for hours sometimes is really important. Speaking to that, practicing hours. So I don't practice something particularly just for hours at a time. I'll practice it for intervals. I'll take 30 minutes at a time and then take 10 minutes for a break, and then 30 minutes again, and then another 10-minute break. That helps me focus. That helps my body not become too fatigued and things like that. So yes, practice for hours, but not like continuously for hours. Like, how do you focus on one thing for hours in this time and day? Phones are going off, and Instagram and Snapchat and all kind of things. So take a break, go watch TV, eat some food, do something. So another thing to practice when practicing improv is to write out solos. And so writing transcriptions of, those greats of the Mileses and the Coltranes and things like that, writing out the solos and even writing out the melody helps, not just at a skill level for playing, but even just for writing out and composing. Like, you want to be able to document how long it took you to do that, and you writing it out helps you to be able to make a marker for later. You know, you realize that, hey, you're writing faster, you're hearing things better, you're hearing things faster, and even your penmanship is getting better. So you're writing things out helps you to make a marker for like realizing that, hey, you're really getting better. Because remember, you're your best teacher. You're with you all the time, and you want to be able to mark the progress. So writing out solos helps you to be able to just think through things. When you're on the bandstand and you're on the gig, you don't have time to think all the time. You're basically reacting and listening to the other members, you know, other people on stage, or, you know, or wherever you are on the session or anything. So you don't really have time to think. And so writing out solos gives you a chance to think through a blues, give you a chance to think through, you know, rhythm changes and things like that. So give yourself a chance to think and develop a vocabulary, because when you're there, now you have a bank of words and a bank of things to pull from because you've thought through it already. So, you know, it makes you look better, makes you look smarter. You have words to use that, you know, you thought through on your own. So those are my techniques for practicing improv. I know it's kind of, you know, even weird to practice improv, but we need to do it, and those are my tips for it. So thanks a lot for tuning in.